thank you for being here. Last February, we had a fall Ticketmaster out because they put tickets on sale for Bruce Springsteen concerts, and then 5 minutes later, they sent you over to Tickets Now, which they own, and the tickets jacked up 3 times. I mean, people go to jail for these types of things. I don't think that's too strong a statement. My staff cringe when I say that. But I don't think that's too strong a statement. I don't. This is the other half of the Felix and Oscar group, Mike Capuano from Massachusetts. You're a lot more sloppy than I am. I'm sorry.
Had I known that this would have kept Bill Pascrell in the Congress, I wouldn't have come today. First of all, I think this bill is actually the absolute minimum we can do. And the truth is, it really doesn't have to be. It has nothing to do with the concert. I haven't been to one in years because things have been too expensive for me for a long time. That's not the point. The point is kind of simple. Either we have competition in this country or we don't. Really simple, very simple. And that has nothing to do with this alone. Same thing is true with cable companies and banks and airlines and everything else you can mention. If we don't have competition, we haven't got an American economic system. That's what we are based on. And if, other than that, it's pure regulation. Who the heck wants to regulate this? Nobody wants to regulate this. I actually think it's already, the horse is already out of the barn. These two companies, even as independent companies, they're for all intents and purposes an oligopoly. And we all know that. So it's one of the reasons I haven't been to a concert in a while, and I have no plans on going to it. And if I tell you, if the Justice Department doesn't see this, I'm not going to blame them for the ills of the past, but I will blame them now if they don't take action. Because very simply, if they don't see this, the next thing I want to do is to get rid of the other 434 members of Congress because I want a monopoly. And once we're done with that, I'm going to get rid of the Senate and then maybe the President. And we'll have what I want. I don't blame either one of the companies. I tell you one thing, we'll get health care. I don't blame the companies. I think it's a mistake to do that. Every single company in the world wants a monopoly. I don't blame them. That's their business, is to make as much money as they can. That's the American way. But the American way also requires competition, and that's why we have the antitrust laws. They worked for a long time. They haven't been impacted. They haven't been enforced. And I can't remember the last time they were enforced in a serious way, not in my adult lifetime anyway. And this is one more instance. If they don't, for all intents and purposes, I believe they will kill the live entertainment industry slowly but surely, because they will knock out the working class from being able to go to anything, not just a concert, a football game, a baseball game, or a basketball game. And the truth is, I used to have season tickets to the Boston Celtics. I gave them up years ago because they were sticking it to us. And there's only so much that I will do for live entertainment. I'll catch it on the news if you want the truth. Or I'll get live entertainment at my community theater. So far, to my knowledge, they haven't opposed. Not yet. But I'm sure they'll work on it as soon as they can. So this bill, to me, is an absolute minimum. And honestly, the truth is we shouldn't need the Justice Department to do their job. And if they were doing their job, well, then we can get rid of Bill Pascrell out of Congress.
That's right. I agree with you very much. Competition is where we're at. I'd like now to introduce our consumer group, Live Entertainment Industry Coalition. And you are going to launch your brand new website today, as I understand it, at ticketdisaster.com. I like it. As a resource for citizens concerned with the harmful consequence of this merger and interested in finding out how they can make their voices heard. First is Sally Greenberg, Executive Director of the National Consumers League. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Congressman. It's really our pleasure. This is a really unusual coalition. I don't think there's ever been one like it.
There hasn't been.
Members of Congress, consumer groups, antitrust experts, independent venue owners, independent ticket sellers. This is a really important opportunity for all of us, I think, to stand up against the schoolyard bullies, Ticketmaster and Live Nation, who want to control the whole playground. Now, I am with the National Consumers League. We've been around since 1899. And given our long history of advocating for the interests of consumers, we recognize a bad deal when we see one. And this proposed merger between Live Nation and Ticketmaster is a bad deal for consumers all the way around. We have, I'm really proud to say, we've got Consumer Action, we've got Consumer Federation of America, we've got U.S. PERB, we've got the American Antitrust Institute, and I know Fred Ford is going to speak in a moment. He's really all things antitrust on the consumer end. If this merger were to go through, as I said, the two schoolyard bullies would control the entire playground of live entertainment, from ticket sales, control of venues, to promotion of artists, to sales of merchandise. Consumers today uniformly feel that the marketplace for ticket sales lacks transparency and fairness. This merger would make a bad situation worse. Now, we've done some preliminary polling out there, and consumers are unanimous. They want more, not less competition in the marketplace. They want more choices, and they want competitive ticket prices. Unfortunately, unless our Department of Justice blocks this merger, we can all but guarantee this new merged behemoth will mean higher ticket prices for consumers, fewer choices for performers, many of whom would like greater freedom to choose the venues they perform in and ticket distributors they use. With this merger looming over their heads, however, many artists are afraid to speak out for fear of being frozen out by these schoolyard bullies if they're permitted to merge. I want to thank Seth Hurwitz from the 930 Club. He's been working with us and his colleagues in the independent venue business for having the courage to step forward and speak out in opposition to this merger. Their voices are very, very important in this debate. But that's why we're here. We're speaking out for anyone who would like to but feels they cannot because of the overpowering power of these two behemoth companies. That's why we're asking federal regulators to block the merger. It's bad for consumers. It's bad for artists. It's bad for the flourishing of culture in this country, and it's bad for America. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sal. I really appreciate it. Next is Tom Catania, who is the immediate past president of the National Association of Ticket Brokers. Tom?
Thanks, Congressman. Good morning. My point in being here today is to shed light on Ticketmaster history and how they are already using their monopolistic power to manipulate markets, as in the case of paperless tickets. I've been in this business for 31 years, and I've seen what they've done. Paperless tickets is just one example where they do not allow tickets to be traded freely or transferred. Now they want to merge with Live Nation. Last year, Live Nation had a lot of complaints about their added-on service charges. So they thought they were cute. They did something called all-in pricing to bury the service charges. So the face value ticket might have $35, but be at $50 when it's done when you add in parking, concessions, and other things. There was actually a suit brought last year because they were charging $6 for parking at the PNC Bank Art Center on every single ticket. Now, I don't know how many people go to a concert by themselves, but I call it their slush fund. And merging these companies together is going to give them a large slush fund because they'll control everything. In the past few years, Ticketmaster has spent over $400 million in buying spree, including a majority share in frontline management, which gives them the ability to control ticket prices for the artists as well as hold back that inventory and put it on sale at higher prices through the Ticketmaster exchange. Today, Ticketmaster and Live Nation are before the Justice Department requesting a merger. The results will be higher ticket prices, artists will be at the mercy of this conglomerate, venues will be at the mercy of this conglomerate. Basically, the live entertainment has four segments of the industry: artist representation, the venue that houses the event, the ticketing company that sells the tickets, and lastly, the merchandising company that sells the souvenirs. Most importantly, no one will be able to compete with this. This merger would allow this new company to control, and I use that word with emphasis, every aspect of the market. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next is Seth Hurwitz, who is promoter owner of the 930 Club in Washington, D.C. Seth?
Thank you. You know, I was going to get up here and talk about competition and the monopoly and all that, but I really can't say it any better than these people have, and that's the point. We all know this. We all look at this and say, this is wrong, this is not possible, and yet we're still here talking about it. It kind of bothers me. You know, we've had hearings. Every article that's been written has been against this thing. Except for the two parties involved, no one likes it. So who haven't we heard from? We haven't heard from the consumer. So what I wanted to do today was call to the consumer with the creation of this website to speak up and let your government know that you don't like this either. It's terrible. Just to reiterate, these people want to take over the industry and make the rules. And those rules mean, here's the ticket prices, here's what we're charging for beer, here's what we're charging for parking, etc. Someone like me, independent promoter, if I survive, it means I have to match their offer. Nobody cares about the ticket anymore because they set the ticket price, and the only way to get the show is to match that. And if you say something like, well, that's too high, they say, well, you know, they think it's okay. they're obviously okay with it, and we need to match it. And that's why ticket prices have gone up, and if this happens, it will be at their whim, I guarantee you. So I understand, you know, the Justice Department needs a way to prevent this, and I understand the theory of, you know, let competition take care of itself, maybe. The problem here is that if this happens, there won't be competition to take care of itself.